Hello everyone, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! From Ohio. I'm here to bring you a card, which I'm very late on doing because it's actually what my Tuesday video was this past week. And it's Saturday? It's actually Saturday evening for me. And I am just not getting around to it. A lot has happened. I didn't feel good. And just one thing led to another. And you know, no need to explain it. It's just one of those things. But I do want to bring it to you. I think it was a very neat card. And I will show you those in a minute. But first, I want to just let you know that Stampin' Up's online exclusives are now out and up on their website. And they are really, really nice. Some nice stuff out there. So I just wanted to let you know so that maybe you could go out there and check it out. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator and have you order from me. And if you ever thought about Stampin' Up! As far as join in to get a discount, join in to stamp with friends, whatever, I would love to be the demonstrator that you would sign under and join my team, and because I am really trying to grow it. And that would be such a great thing. And you can always get a hold of me. All my information is in the description at the bottom of the video. So with all that being said, I am going to turn my camera around and then we are going to get started on this card. But first I am going to take my computer and I'm going to have to step away for a minute, like I always have to, because I forget to turn the sound down when I am getting ready to record. And just a flaw of mine, that's all I can say. So if I don't turn that down, and with having my phone on, then I get an echo. And I really don't care for echoes, so we're getting the echo out of the way. So let me see if the video popped up, and it did. So here we go. And that just helps me keep everything in focus, okay? So let me dig out my two cards right here before we get started. And this was a fun card to do. Or actually, you do two cards out of what we're doing. So I'm going to be doing two cards. So without further ado, we're going to turn the camera down. Look at my hair. Oh my gosh, sticking up. That's okay. It's just hair, right? So turn this around. And let's go down. And let me see how that focuses when my camera goes down there. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? All except for my little white things over here. This, well, let me see if I can find it. I'll point to it. That right there is my hot light. Looks like all the little dots. And then this is one of my, the little round circle one, is one of my cam lights out of the ceiling. So it looks funny. But these two cards, aren't they cool? I actually found a lady scrolling on YouTube, and I was just looking, and I found this her channel, and it was called Senior Susie Stamps. Had never seen it before, and it looked like it was interesting, so I clicked on it, and these were the cards she was doing, and I love the way that they were done. So I just put a little Stampin' Up! Spiel onto it with our papers and stuff. Hers were, I don't know what hers were done with, and it really doesn't matter. But I did some Stampin' Up! Papers. And I do want to tell you before we go any further, I do have a PDF. If you go over to my YouTube, not YouTube, sorry, my Facebook group, and it's Stamp Crazy VIP. In the files section, you can always get the PDFs to my cards there. So here's the PDF telling what I used and how to do the card, or both cards. So you'll get to see both cards the way they are done, because if you notice, this card is all, each tree's one color. this card, each tree is 2 colors. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that and why it's done that way. And we're going to do all 6 of these trees with these 3 pieces of Designer Series paper that is cut 2 by 4. And that Designer Series paper came out of, it's in the online catalog, or is it in the mini catalog? I can't remember now. Seasons of Elegance, it's in the mini catalog. Seasons of Elegance is the name of it. And let me just show you. I'm going to pull out. There's one color I didn't use, but boy, it'd be beautiful to use. Let me just say. And I didn't use this one right here. Isn't that beautiful? Just so pretty. But, so that's Pretty Peacock, actually. And this is Mossy Meadow, Garden Green. And this is Cherry Cobbler up here. And then this one is your Basic Beige. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful papers. You can use them for a lot of different things. So, and then my little tree trunks right here. I made those from the Country Woods papers. And I just took this piece right here and cut it a 1/2 inch wide and cut 1 inch little strips. And that is the tree trunks on my trees. That made it look really kind of cool. Now my star, I could not find a star in my dies, but there is one in the Peaceful Evergreens. There I got that out, and I thought I had looked, but I didn't. The Peaceful Evergreens has a star right here that you could use, which this is current, and that one could be used. But what I got out and used was my old Stampin' Up! Punch. I love punches anyway. So, I didn't mind using the punch, but it is retired. But if you have that in your stash, it's great to use. That is what is used on these cards. Okay? So now let's get started. Let me show you how this is done for the trees. We're going to bring in our paper cutter. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take all of these. It's 2 by 4. So I'm just going to center that in between those 1 inch marks. And I'm going to score at 1 inch. And that just helps with folding of the paper. So I'm going to do each one of these and score that at 1 inch. And it's funny, these trees look different because it just depends on where you're cutting your paper and what it looks like. And I don't think it really matters because it really just adds texture and personality to your cards. So right now we have these scored, and I'm going to fold them. And when I fold these, I'm going to go ahead, because I want that fold to kind of stay folded. So I'm going to just turn each one of these. And I'm going to do this last one. And if your paper's a little off, it's not going to matter a whole lot in the big scheme of things. But I'm going to take this one, and I want my fold, I'm going to actually do it this way because my fold is torn right there a little bit where I scored. I was just too heavy-handed. I'm going to have my fold to the left side of my paper trimmer. And I'm going to put the folded line into the cutting edge here. And then I'm going to bring it down at a diagonal and put the open end over here. So that we have, I'm going to just hold my paper down so I can put that down, and then I'm going to trim it. So when I trim it, I have a tree that looks like this. There's that tree, and then I'm going to save these 2 pieces. We're going to lay them right here. We're going to do that with each tree, okay? We're going to put the folded line at the top, the open edge at the bottom lined up in the cutting track, and our folds to your left. And that one got off a little bit, so it doesn't matter if it's off a tiny bit, but if it gets off a lot, then it's like, I have to hold that down barely with my finger. There we go. I think we're good. So there's my 2 pieces. And you want to save all that. And then here is my last piece. So I'm just going to hold that down with my thumbnail. Not that I have big thumbnails, but holding it down anyway. So here we have our trees now. So that's, each tree is already cut. Okay, now we're done with the paper trimmer. We won't need that anymore. And we can move on to our cards. So our card is done. Now this card right here is done. If you can see that really good, it's got embossing, the embossing folder on it. And this one does not. Now you could use, and it's got something on the card though, because it's probably from my cat. Little crazy thing. But I didn't use it on this. But you could use it on both of them or neither one of them, whatever you like. That's, I think, a personal preference. And I forgot to put my host code up here if anybody would like to order. That was crazy. I had one laying here, but you know, I have a kitten and she likes to play with paper, so she took that one off. So we're just working with what I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my card base, and I'm using the thick white cardstock, and it's cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So let's fold my card. Okay, we're going to fold it, make sure that it's all lined up straight, or as straight as I can line it. And just, so what I'm going to do with my trees, and I'm going to put my lighter tree in the middle with the 2 extra ones on the ends. So what you do to put your tree down, I want to see if this will work. I left it open, so it might be kind of stopped up because it's got a dried tip on the end of it. Let's see. There we go. But what I'm going to do is just try to get on this, see the fold. Oh, I forgot to do something before we did that. We're going to leave that there. It's not going to hurt it. What you want to do is you want to bring in a ruler. You're going to what I did is I'm going to line this up on an inch marker. That's at 8 inches. So at 9, 10, and 11, I want to make a mark. So I'm going to line my ruler up at the 9-inch mark. And I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm not going all the way up the card. I'm just putting it a little ways up, starting at the bottom. Don't do the top, because if you do the top, you will have to erase. And this way you don't have to erase nothing. So I'm just doing 3 little marks there. Okay, almost forgot to tell you that. That's important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my green tree, and I'm going to line that up on that pencil line. That's what I want the pencil line for, because it's telling me where to put my tree. Okay, and I am just going to run my finger, like, I'm going to say down the spine of it, because it is the, there we go. So that's that tree. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on all 3 trees. So I'll go ahead and put some glue down this tree. And I'm going to put it on this outside line, and you don't have to line these up per se. You can stagger them at different heights, is what I want to say. So I'm going to put this one up here. But what you do want to do is try to make sure that you don't get outside of your lines or your card dimension so that it'll fit good in an envelope. So there's that card, and I just took my thumb. You could take your bone folder or whatever and go down that center. I just used my thumb. It's attached. I don't have to look for it. And now I'm going to put some of this on this tree. So it's important to have a glue and adhesive that you can just finally use here. And then I think I'm going to put this one right here. I'm going to lay each one of those trees at the bottom down at the side where this tree is that I just did not get them on that line. I must have had too much glue. So anyway, but I'm going to worry about the glue in a minute. I'm actually going to be covering a little bit of that, so I'm not real worried about it. So I've got that down, and I want to let that dry for just a second. So what I can do, because all of those are down, I have my stuff pre-cut for as far as my little tree trunks and my stars. Now to put my stars on, I am just going to put a little circle of glue right at the top of that tree top. And I'm going to use my pick tool to pick up my star and just lay that at the top of that tree. It's nice if they're turned over. And I used our gold foil paper, but you can use any gold foil. You could use glimmer paper, you know, something that's got to really shine. I wanted the gold because of the gold, looks like the gold leafing in there, because it kind of matched it. So that's what I used. So I just want to put my stars on, let my stars start to dry. Then I'm going to take 3 tree trunks. That's all I need for now, is 3 little tree trunks. And I'm going to go ahead with my glue, and I'm just going to go down my pencil line, because that's all I need to do is this pencil line. I think I might have, I hope my tree trunk fits that. Might need a longer tree trunk. Nope, I'm good. And then I just kind of center that on there and press it down. Once you get it on, just butt it up against your tree and then just give it a little press so that it burnishes into the glue. Then I'll bring this one. I'm actually going to lift up that tree trunk right there a little bit and stick that down. Once you get that done, you can just turn it over. And you know what I didn't do? I did this straight on my card. I was going to put it on a mat, and I did not. I went straight to my card, but that's okay. That is okay too. The other one will be matted. because you can do this card either way. So there's my trees so far. Now, another thing we're going to do is we've got some dimension going on here with our trees because we don't have them flat. So they have a little bit of dimension to them. So what I did here is I took a piece of cardstock that measures right around 2 inches. And I think I had it at 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to fold that in half. But I'm going to be using this as my base. And I don't want it to, that like exactly fits. I want it a little bit smaller than that. So I'm going to take my paper snips and I am just going to cut off a tiny, tiny bit of edge off of that, because I don't need it to be that big. And what this is going to do, it's going to fit in here. And I'll show you on my card here if you can see it. It's down in here and it kind of holds this up because of the dimension. So what you do is you do that and you just bend these out. So I'm going to take, like I did before, I want to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on here. And I'm just going to lay it inside on that fold line that is in there. And I can take my thumb or I can take a pick tool, whatever. I have this little tool here, so I'm just going to rub that down into that to kind of burnish it together. So that my tree is up. And that's gonna dry while we do our stamping. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in and I'm gonna stamp with the black. I'm gonna stamp Peace on Earth onto my card. And the Peace on Earth came out of the Shepherd's Care. I did Peace on Earth on the front, and then I did Praying that you will feel the Good Shepherd's care in this season and throughout the coming year. It's going to go on the inside. So let's do Peace on Earth. You just want to tap. You don't want to get this all over your stamp. And then bring it and add it to your piece here. There we go. Peace on Earth. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to take and go ahead and I'm going to open it and I'm going to put the stamp on the inside. The one that I just read to you is going to go on the inside of this. So I always, with a felt pad, I kind of twist. It gets ink on there really good. And then I tap it out. And that smooths it out. So I'm going to hold this open and just stamp. And there is our stamped pieces for this card. And I'll go ahead and put that together. I'm getting the ink off of my stamps just because I don't want to get ink on my cards. With these white cards and stuff, it's like, nah, I don't want ink on them. Try to save the card here. So what I'm going to do now is I want these to stand up a little bit. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. And I tell you what, let's try this. I hadn't done this before. Let's try a glue dot on it. Haven't done the glue dot on it to do, but you know, that might work better. Because then you won't have to worry about that glue going everywhere. And you don't want that smashed down flat because then it won't have any spring to it like you need it. So we'll just put a glue dot on each side of this. That might work better than even the glue, now that I've made a few and Just now thought of this, but that's okay. It's what teaching is all about. So I can bring this side up and put there, and this side up and put on there. Let's move it down just a hair. Just a hair on that one. There we go. And it will smash down to put it in a card, and then it'll stand back up. But that is that card made. Okay, and then we open it up, and there's that. So now let's do the second card. I love this card. And you're going to take, if you'll notice, this has a long end and a short end. And you're going to take your short ends. So let's put all these out. That's a short end. So let's take the short ends, and those are going to go together and make a tree. Let's take a short end of the green, which would be this one, make a tree, and then these two short ends should make a tree. And there we go. So that's our 3 trees. So what we do with these to put these together is we just go down. I'm going to get that little bit of glue off of that edge. And we just put a thin line down on the top. And go all the way up to that point. And what you want to do, you can lay that down, but you want to match your points up. Now remember, we're going to put a star on it, so it's not going to matter if there's a little bit of glue. And your ends down here may be a little bit off, but unless it's your middle tree, you're not going to have to worry about that. But you can go ahead and trim it off and make them even. So there's one tree. Let's go ahead and do the second tree. And I'm basically going to match up my top again. And like I said, if it's not a perfect match, you've got your star that's going to go over it. There's that one. Now let's do this one. Do y'all think these are pretty nice trees? I thought it was really elegant looking with this paper with the gold. So now we're going to put this one together. Again, lining up that top more so than anything. So there's our 3 trees. Now what we're going to do, we're not going to forget to put our layer on top, that's for sure. We're going to do that. I'm going to bring in my card, which again is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded. So we are going to bring those in and do that and just fold that. I am going to bring in, and I'm not going to do it yet because that will be done with dimensionals. But I'm going to bring this in, and what I want to do is I've already got this where I've torn, see how I've torn for snow here? So I'm just going to take this piece, because I've torn both the edges of it, and I didn't want to waste it. So I'm just going to cut that flat. And I'm going to use this part. So that'll work out fine for my snow. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and I want to take my trees, and I'm going to put 2 of them to where I'm going to make sure that my snow is up where my snow is, that I'm not going to be overzealous and put my tree somewhere where it's not going to work. So I'm just going to fill this full of glue. Not to where it's so mushy out, but I want it to be to where it would adhere onto this paper that is now dimensional with the embossing. And remember, we don't have to have the end completely down. We're going to put a star over it, okay? We're going to actually add the stars onto that. So I'm going to bring the other one in. I'm going to use this one, I think, and I'm going to put it up just a little higher. So let's take and add some glue. And I want my trees to be inside of the line of the mat, this white piece, so I can put my snow there. Now what I don't have to do is put tree trunks on there. So we don't have to worry about that. We're just going to take and glue the snow down at this point. So let's take that. I just match it up at the bottom. And if this looks like it's a little longer over here, which this one does, I'm going to take my paper. Whoops. Better give it a minute before I do that, huh? I'll not be so heavy-handed. It's like, you really wanted to do that. So let's go ahead and trim that off so that that matches. Now we're going to take this tree and we're actually going to use some dimensionals and we're going to put it up with dimensionals. So let me take some of those. And I want it to stand up, so I'm going to make sure that I have dimensionals going up the tree. If it looks like overkill, it probably is overkill today, but you know what? It's okay. Because I just wanted a little bit of, oh, here's what I want. Here's where I've been cutting. Can you tell I've been cutting all these pieces off? I'm going to go ahead and cut me a tiny little sliver of this. And I'm going to put that right here at the top. So there we go with our tree. And before I put that on, I wanted to actually put my tree trunk on, but I didn't do that, so now I will. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue here. For my tree trunk. Make sure it looks kind of straight. And then I'm going to put a dimensional here. And I'm going to take one of these baby dimensionals and put it here, and that'll just help hold it on right there. Baby dimensionals, what I call them. They're called minis, but I call them babies. So now I'm going to peel all the backings off, which take an hour after putting this many on. But I really wanted this tree to stand. I mean, it's really an elegant card, so, you know, in the big scheme of things, dimensionals don't cost that much. You get like 300 of them for $4.25, I think is the price. So, So now what I can do is put this tree, and I'm going to put this tree down to the bottom here. And now we will add our stars. Now our star for the middle one will have a dimensional on it. So let me get that, and that'll have one of the tiny dimensionals. You just put that in the center. And you want to get it on there where it can't be seen. But if it can, and you want to, this is easier to me, is just to take and trim that off and underneath there. And you still have plenty of dimensional on there. And you can just put that at the top of the tree. And then the other two, I'm going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to put just a little dollop of glue right at the top of that tree. I'm going to turn these over because they're easier to do with my... I'm going to stick that on. And do the same with this one. Now you notice on here I did Peace and Joy there, and I embossed it. I could do that here, but I am just wondering, could I put Peace and Joy at the bottom? Or I think I want it at the top. And what I'm going to have to do is I am going to stamp this with Versamark. I'm going to get all my little tree trunks out of the way here. I lost my little container I had them in. It's right here. Yay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my see if I lost it, and here it is, hiding under all the stuff, because I always use a coffee filter for the most part. And I'm going to use gold embossing powder with this, and then when I go to emboss it, I'm going to step away, because the way I have my table now, my embossing gun doesn't come this far, and I'm going to have to redo that. Think about that. So let's stamp this up really good with Versamark. I want a lot of ink on it to get it stamped up good. Then I'm going to put Peace and Joy. And I'm going to let that soak in the paper a second. And I'll bring it up. Should have had this open probably. I'm just going to shake that out on there. And before I go messing with that, I'm going to close this up. It gets enough stuff on it because it's so sticky. And then I'm just going to knock off some of the excess. There we go. Now I'm going to take this and just pour it back into my stuff. And it lasts forever doing that. And you really get everything. I shake it because of some little particles stay onto the coffee filter, but not a lot. I just shake it out a little bit. Now I'm going to go and I am going to emboss this real quick. Real quick. Or as quick as I can, let's say that. Let's say that. I don't emboss a lot, so it's kind of an afterthought to me sometimes about this thing. I know some people emboss all the time. Okay, I'm getting ready to turn it on, so you will hear a motor running over here for a few. I'm going to turn it on and let it get hot because I always do that before I put it to my paper. Okay. So I have my Peace and Joy, and I'm going to use dimensionals on this also. So I just want to and then we will just add that right here to our tree. And then I'm going to put this, I was looking to make sure that I didn't have two pieces of paper there. I'm going to pop this up also. So, and then I'm going to stamp my inside because I did stamp the inside of this one also with Merry Christmas. So what I'm going to do with this is I am just going to add this to the front. Like so. Make sure that's all stuck. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to bring in my two colors, Mossy Meadow and Cherry Cobbler. I'm going to take the Cherry Cobbler and I'm going to stamp Christmas. So I'm just going to ink my stamp up to say Christmas. And I'm going to add it right here towards the top so it gives me plenty of room to write a message. We'll close that one up. And we'll take the green. And stamp Mary. So let me close this up. So there's our other card. Peace and Joy. Then Merry Christmas is on the inside. So that is the two cards that we made. Aren't those pretty? And like I said, I want to give credit to her name's Julia. I think it's Julia. And her channel is Senior Susie Stamps. So you might want to go check her out. She has some neat stuff. I know she does a lot with like scraps, small pieces that she has left over and stuff like that. So you might want to check her out. She was really, really good. Had good ideas to share. And, you know, I always like to give credit when I know where that credit needs to go to. And I saw her do it. Now, if she saw someone else do it, that's another story. I don't know about that one. So there we go. That is our cards. I hope you enjoyed it. I am so sorry that I am late getting this done. But, you know, there will come a time that I will get organized. And there is my host code for November. So if you have an order you'd like to place online, that is my website or online store, ritaholmes.stampinup.net. and that is the host code. Unless you spend over $150, then don't use the host code, because then you get the Stampin' Rewards for right now. Okay? All right. Until next time, I want you all to be blessed. And don't forget that on Tuesday mornings, if you're on Facebook, join my Facebook group, Stamp Crazy VIP, or follow my business page, Stamp Crazy by Rita Holmes, which is the same as the YouTube channel. And you will see those videos at 10 o'clock. It's the same one as these, but I'm very adamant of doing my Tuesday video at 10 o'clock. I just don't have a platform for streaming right now, so I don't do YouTube at the same time right now. I just have to figure all that out, and I haven't done that yet. But hopefully by the first of the year, I'll do that. And until then, be blessed. Have a great rest of your week, or the starting of your next week. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.